Welcome to dinner. I am Reyshan Parker, and tonight I'm going to make what is a twist on my mother's 1970s style stuffed bell peppers. It's like a Mexican kind of Italian fusion thing I got going on here. So first of all, we're going to turn our cast iron skillet onto high, because we're going to brown our meats first. We're going to use about a half a pound of some hamburger, a half a cup of some tomato sauce, we have provolone cheese, carrots, a whole can of corn, a can of black beans. We're going to do 5 whole stuffed peppers. So they all fit lovely right inside this pan. So that's what we're doing. So let's get started, shall we? We're gonna put about a tablespoon or 2 of olive oil into our cast iron. Give it a swirl, swirl. Coat the pan. And we're gonna take about our pound and a half of hamburger and we go. So you want to break the hamburger up as best you can as she breaks down, and as soon as it's in there, you want to go ahead and dab it with a little salt. You know, salt to taste, as much as you like. And some pepper. And I found this awesome seasoning that goes, it's like this great Italian blend, but it also is great for all kinds of other things. Big Daddy's Super Herb. Can't go wrong with the Big Dads, right? So, in goes the Big Dad. And we're just gonna saute her up, mix it all together. And while that starts cooking, we're gonna go ahead and take the tops off of our peppers. So take a little paring knife, and the peppers that you want for stuffed peppers, you really want them to be able to stand on end by themselves. So as you're picking them out, make sure that they are bipedal, if you will. So to take the top off, just like cutting the top of a pumpkin, just cut her around. Pop off the top and take out the insides. And we're going to do it to each and every one of them. But in between messing with the peppers, we're going to stir our beef. Multitasking is key when cooking. Now, as we did doing this, you did want to go ahead and preheat your oven to about 350 degrees. All right, we're gonna keep working on these peppers. Some people keep the tops. We're not keeping the tops. We're gonna cook these babies with a lot of cheese. It's gonna be amazing. Like so. Pull out those insides, tap out the seeds. Back to the beef, make sure you stir it. We're going to get it nice and brown, and then we're going to add our vegetables, because some people debate which way to do that. Some people do the vegetables first, some people do it separate. But I feel like if you get the meat nice and perfectly just to its gray consistency, like completely cooked through, and then add your vegetables, it all cooks down about the same time. The hamburger gets brown, the vegetables get cooked. It works out beautifully. So, finishing off these peppers. So my mom always liked to make these very fun 1970s like dishes. She used a lot of like salad dressings, there's like marinades, and just real basic. She was a huge fan of Spike. I'm a salt and pepper person. If you don't know what Spike is, it is literally the name brand of a seasoning blend, kind of like the Big Dads over there, but it's just called Spike. So if you're into something different, look up Spike. It's been around forever, and it still exists. You can still buy it. All right, so you see how our peppers fit nice and snug in our pan there. We're gonna take them back out for a minute because we want to give it a little spritz of some olive oil cooking spray. And plop them back in. And there they will hang until we stuff them. In the meantime, don't forget about your meat. It's working. This hot plate's not quite as hot as my oven, so not going quite as fast as I would like, but hey, the things we do for television. Alright, so while that beef continues to brown, we're going to go ahead and cut up about half of a large onion. So I just slice the onion down the middle. I'll take the ends off first. And that allows us to just give us a nice little peel off on the end. And we have a nice, clean onion. And we're going to dice it. Nice, small dice. So I like to go long ways first. And I come back around and just chop it. And there's our onions. As soon as our meat is fully browned, we will be ready to add our veggies. It's getting real close. This thing is not as hot as I would like it to be. Alright, so our hamburger's pretty much about done there, so we're going to go ahead and put in the onions. And also our carrots, because the carrots cook at about the same time and temp as those onions. So in they go. Why carrots, you ask? Well, they're just good for you, and they're easy. They add a little sweetness to the dish. I would say crunch, but all that crunch is going to cook right out of there. So you don't want to over stir as you're trying to brown your hamburger, because meat needs to sear. So you want it to, when you say brown the hamburger, it literally means brown, right? Like right now we're at a gray stage. You want to get past the gray stage and into that, like almost the char of like a hamburger on the outside, like a nice smash burger, just on, you know, about 50% of the meat, and that flavor clings to the pan, cast iron particularly, and so we can take just a little bit of water, and that's just going to pull it all back up off the pan and just spread that flavor all around our entire combination of meat and vegetables here. Cheers. All right, so once our meat gets that nice brown charred consistency that we want, the pan is super crusty with a lot of that nice rendered fat and the charred goodness from the hamburger. And we're just going to put about half a cup, not even quite, half a cup of water in there, and just use that to deglaze the pan real nice. And you'll notice that the brownness from the bottom of the pan starts to coat everything, and everything gets this really nice, lovely, deep brown color all over it. So, when that's done, we can go ahead and throw our corn in, and our black beans, and we're just going to mix that all together. And we can go ahead and put in our cup, or a half a cup, and then we can go ahead and put in our half a cup of tomato sauce. And we're just going to mix it all together real good. And then we're going to stuff it in them peppers. Now at this point, you should probably taste it and see if you need to add a little more salt, pepper, Big Daddy seasoning. I'm thinking just a little more pepper. Or quite a bit more pepper. Really. And a little more salt. We did add all that extra ingredients in there that needs to be flavored as well. And so, if perchance you made a little too much stuffing for those peppers, you always have a backup for a wonderful chip and dip combination here. It's like a bean dip that you can just have in some tortilla chips. Really good. Make a burrito even. Whatever. You got leftovers. That's what I'm saying. So we're going to let that cool down just a little bit. And as that cools down, we're going to go ahead and put provolone cheese into the middle of our peppers first. Now this isn't a normal thing that people do with their stuffed peppers, but like a Chicago style pizza, I feel like I'm gonna put cheese on the bottom, but then unlike a Chicago style pizza, I'm also gonna put cheese on top. Yeah, that's the thing. So let's just get a piece of provolone inside of each one of these peppers first. Just gonna plop it in, let it fill the center. Because my wife has a theory that you can't have too much cheese. Health professionals disagree, but my taste buds think she's right. So, going with it. All right, we got a piece of cheese in each one of there. We're gonna get a big old spoon and stuff these bad boys. All right, we got our big old spoon here. We're gonna use this thing to fill those bad boys. Do that. So one at a time, just load her up, you know. We made a bunch of it, so don't be stingy. Get it all in there. Oh yeah. A little press down. Oh, it's heavy. It's heavier than you think it'd be. So one at a time, we'll just fill them up. It's kind of like stuffing a turkey, except it's not a turkey. It's a pepper. Hey Blake, how's everything looking for you over there?
Looks good.
Are you hungry yet?
I'm hungry watching this.
About. All right, so we got all the peppers stuffed. And I'm going to take the rest of my cheese here and I'm going to put a piece on top of each one of these peppers. This guy's a little leaning tower, but I think he's okay. There we go. And I got this extra piece, so waste not, want not. Now, here's the tricky part. We got to cover these things with foil because we don't want the cheese like burn off in the oven. We just want it to melt down, and then we'll take the foil off and let it brown a little bit right at the end. So, but you also don't want the foil to stick all over your cheese. So,
There's a deep enough pot.
I was trying to think if I had something that would fit over.
You want to cook without the cheese on top first a little bit?
I thought about it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this fork and I'm just going to wedge it down in between my peppers. And I'm going to give it just lightly over the top on one side. And we got gaps on the other side, so we're just going to take another piece and cover it there. And that should hopefully keep our cheese from sticking to the foil. And there we go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put these in the oven, and we already have some that are finished, so we're just gonna pull those right off and show you the finished product. Switcheroo. All right, so that the fork trick really worked. Like a charm. Look at that, beautiful, beautiful. Golden brown stuffed peppers. Careful with that fork, it's gonna be really, really hot. And if some cheese gets stuck to it, make sure to eat it, because it's really good. All right, so here we have our beautiful, beautiful stuffed peppers. Let's pull one out and plate it, shall we? Watch out for that pan, really hot. We're gonna go with our seafoam blue plate today, just for funsies. I highly recommend using tongs. I want something to cut to. Tongs! One of the best tools in the kitchen for all sorts of things. One of those things being pulling peppers from a pan. Here we go. Get it by the base. She is heavy. Oh boy. And that's why you want a bipedal pepper. So it just stands right up just like that. So there we have it. My mother's 1970s style stuffed bell pepper with beef, corn, onions, carrots, a little tomato goodness. Should we cut it open and see what happens? Yeah, let's do that. All right, here we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Got our beautiful cheese in the bottom, cheese at the top, double layered goodness. Well, I can't wait to dive in. How about you? Let's just have a bite. Let's get a bite. Here we go. Stuffed peppers. Mmm. So good. So thank you for coming to dinner. You are always welcome in my kitchen, and I hope that I'm always welcome in your living room. And get in your kitchen and go cook up some bell peppers, because they're so good. Y'all have a good night. Cheers.